Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure review. Alright, so today we are going to jump into the time machine and travel way, way back as we take a look at this. This is Miracleman. Alright, so where do I begin with this guy? Alright, so if you're like a long time comic book reader, and when I say long time, I mean someone that's been around since like maybe the early 80s, you're probably familiar with Miracleman. I don't want to go into all the convoluted details about the background of this character. For many, many years, there was a lot of like legal battle surrounding Miracleman. Like who owned him, who owned the publishing rights, and it's just like a really, really like, I don't know, it's kind of a mess. Just go online, jump onto Google, and just, do some homework, and you'll find that this is a character that had a very, very controversial and storied publishing history. But back in, I want to say, like, when was this? In the early 2000s, I want to say maybe like 2003 or earlier, McFarlane Toys had the rights to the character, and they published, or they produced a couple of action figures of Miracleman. I think they even renamed them at one point to avoid all the legal trouble. I think at one point in time he was called Man of Miracles, but this was part of a two-figure set, which is right here. This was from the Spawn and Miracleman exclusive 2-pack that was available at San Diego Comic-Con back in 2003. To the best of my knowledge, I think the exclusive that you got at Comic-Con back then was even autographed by the real-life Al Simmons. If you're not familiar with Al Simmons is actually Spawn's alter ego, and Al Simmons was actually like, there's actually a real-life Al Simmons. He was Todd McFarlane's roommate in college, I believe. I actually met Al Simmons years ago, I think back in 1991 or 92, and he was selling Spawn t-shirts for Todd McFarlane at Chicago Comic-Con, and this predated Wizard World Chicago, so this was like years ago. But back to the subject of the figure right here, he was part of this exclusive 2-pack. This is a really small action figure. This guy's about 4 3/4 inches tall, and this really embodies what action figures were like during the 2000s, or early 2000s and late 90s. This guy is literally a miniature statue, much like most of McFarlane Toys back then. But the thing is, with most of their figures, they were articulated somewhat. But this guy was really just a miniature statue featuring no articulation whatsoever. The detailing is nice, and the paint job is very, very 90s. It's very messy. It has a lot of washes and highlighting with dry brushing. But it's a cool piece. For me, this is a small piece of action figure history. And with it being a con exclusive, I think for me that kind of enticed it even more. I think on the secondary market, this 2-pack runs for a pretty penny. I want to see. I think I've seen this online go for maybe like anywhere between $60 to $100 on eBay for this 2-pack, mint in box, I think. For me, I just got this one figure by itself. It was missing the Spawn. I got this loose for like $3. So I couldn't say no to it. I'm not really the biggest Miracleman fan, but I've always been impressed with his visual presentation. I always kind of thought it was a cool looking character, and for me just to have this little McFarlane mini statue is kind of a big deal. I'm a big fan of McFarlane Toys, especially the stuff that came out of this time period. But it's a nice display piece. It's pretty cool. I kind of wish I had the Spawn, so I might have to hunt down the Spawn. But yeah, it's a nice figure. The sculpting, it's really detailed, but the face is kind of ugly. It looks like a weird mix between like actor Robert Patrick and Leatherface. It's not the most attractive looking portrait sculpt I've seen. but it's very detailed. You know, a lot of texturing, wonderful paint application. You know, especially something coming out of this time period. The musculature is nice. It's pretty cool. He's in a very heroic looking pose, very dynamic. All right, so let's wrap this one up. I just wanted to share this little piece of action figure history with you. Again, if you're not familiar with Miracleman, look him up on Google. You'll see that he's had a very conflicted, storied history. You know, I think Marvel owns him now, because I remember Marvel producing a couple of miniseries based off of him, like in the mid-2000s. But yeah, fun figure. All right, so let's wrap this up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.